So hi, everybody. My name is Catherine Samari, and I'm very proud and pleased to introduce this meeting with our Ukrainian feminist friends on behalf of the Feminist Working Group of ENSU. ENSU means European Network in Solidarity with Ukraine and Against the War. Which organized that event in relation to March 8th, so-called Women's Day. I will be very short, with the only aim to briefly present for those who don't know it, ENSU, the network, and then to leave the floor to Ala Solod, educator and Ukrainian feminist activist, a part of the Ukrainian Feminist Workshop, and now also involved in ENSU Feminist Working Group. And she will have the task to present our guests and to lead the whole event. Thank you, Ala, for this. So briefly, in March 2022, so 2 years ago, I was among the co-founders of ENSU, this European network. And then I was also, that was in the aftermath of Russian imperial invasion of Ukraine, I was also refusing to sign an international feminist pacifist appeal. So that appeal was opposed to the war, but on very abstract general pacifist grounds, supporting on such basis Russian pacifists, but without any contact with Ukrainian feminists. And that was the reason why I refused to sign it. And our network was built in the very same period, both precisely against both the dominant left orientation on the war, and also de facto against such a feminist but general pacifist point of view. So our main focus, and you can just look at it reading our platform, which is reproduced on ENSU website. Our main focus was to be globally against any neo-colonial imperial aggressions, but precisely against that very concrete Russian imperial aggression against Ukraine. So our platform was based was aiming to regroup individuals, organizations, trade unionists, feminist, political organizations who collectively would denounce that imperial Russian aggression against Ukraine, with the aim to, first of all, listen to what was Ukrainian point of view and Ukrainian agency in front of that war. Ukrainian popular agency through different organizations, and of course, in particular, women's agency in front of that war, in conditions of war. So therefore, ENSU platform aimed to establish direct links with Ukrainian society, with Ukrainian organizations, trade unionists, political left organization, and feminists. And that aim was to defend the Ukrainian armed and non-armed resistance in front of a terrible armed aggression, a neo-colonial and imperial Russian aggression. So on that base, we have established within ENSU a specific feminist working group, which, contrary to this abstract pacifist manifesto, established direct links with Ukrainian feminists and tried to organize also very concrete campaigns. So I can first say that our first international campaign was to support the Ukrainian feminist manifesto, The Right to Resist, which was its title. And you can find such manifesto, of course, first on the website of the Ukrainian review, Spilne Commons, which have first produced that manifesto, but you can also find it in different languages and still sign it on ENSU website. And you can find on ENSU website all different campaigns, not only the feminist one, but trade unions activities and so on. But on the feminist point of view, you can find all the documents and way to be involved in our campaigns. I only want to finish quoting and stressing some of those campaigns that we have launched on the feminist point of view. At an European and even now more than European level, because we have now contacts in other continents to continue that, to push forward that platform. So to only quote some of our campaigns, so one of the first one was, of course, the signatures supporting the feminist manifesto, The Right to Resist. But afterwards, we also organized, in particular with our Polish friends, organized in the left organization Razem, and its feminist component, a campaign in defense of the right of abortion for women in conditions of war and of refugees, in particular in Poland. So a petition, a world petition on that on those issues. Second, we have organized also, and we are still organizing a campaign which is not only for women and feminists, but which includes, of course, particular feminist issues. The name is Be Like Nina, which supports the campaign made by Ukrainian nurses in the public sector of healthcare and in defense precisely of reproductive rights, women's rights, and healthcare in general in Ukraine, and against also the corruption within that sector. And we also have different fundraising, in particular with feminist organization. One of those, we will speak of it afterwards, Veteranka, and in particular for women who are in the front also, and so on. So we have, you can find all those campaigns, but I want to stop now and to give the floor to Ala with only last quoting, if you permit me, which is a quote from the very last appeal that we just received for March the 8th from Ukrainian feminists, and which says at the end of the text that you can write in also, that you can read also in our website. I quote them: "We want to remind that Ukrainians are not objects for the discussions. We are people. We have our own voices who are facing imperial oppression and who know how to fight it. It's crucial to emphasize that resistance against an armed attack by an imperial country inevitably involves armed resistance. Our fight is a fight not only for peace, but also a fight with patriarchal, xenophobic, imperialist Russia. Now we critically need help and solidarity from the international community. share Ukrainian voices, advocate for military aid to Ukraine and our right for self-defense. That is precisely the aim of ENSU, to listen to those voices. That's why I leave you the floor now, Ella. Many thanks.
Thank you, Catherine, for this introduction. I will remind a little bit how the discussion will be hosted. So first we will have 1 hour questions to the feminist workshop, and after this we will have 30 minutes to answer on any questions which will be raised from the discussion, or any questions which you have from yourself to the feminist group. So today with us we have a feminist workshop. It's a feminist organization from Lviv in the west of Ukraine, and with us we have Yarina and Olga. Olga is the head of the feminist workshop, and Yarina is the head of the community department. Sorry, Yarina. And they will tell us about their work and the situation of the women during and before the full-scale invasion. So Yarina, Olga, please, can you tell us a little bit what is a feminist workshop, its history, and which activities were performed in the feminist workshop before the full-scale invasion?
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Alla. Nice to see you all. Hi. So I want to start with not optimistical thing, but it's first of all, it's important to say that war in Ukraine began not in 2022, but in 2014. And this is, it was the year when our feminist workshop was created. So how it started? Then Russia first attacked Ukrainian cities. Lviv, our city, had many forcibly displaced people, and young women, including precarious social workers and queer displaced people, low income, wanted to create some space where they can discuss some feminist topics with another feminist and have some safe space to share knowledge and do something by hands. I mean, cook, night, by hands. And that's why we started our way. And I have some examples of what we did before the 2022. It was mostly awareness activities and events for feminist community. So, for example, lessons in the schools about the discrimination and sex education, also courses like School of Feminism Theory for activists, for all activists in Ukraine, and it was online schools. Also, it was a school, for example, about feminist writing and about activism, media. For example, we had some course, and also video courses and lectures about the history of women in art. That's all.
Thank you. And can you elaborate how the situation of women in general, not only inside the feminist workshop, but in Ukraine in general, changed after the full-scale invasion? And to tell us a little bit more, what is the life of women and which challenges women have in the rear and in the front?
So I want to start. I want to say, first of all, that it's a huge question, and we definitely need a separate event for only that question, because from some obvious problems and challenges, we can talk about more complicated and deep dive in a lot of problems, especially when we talk about every woman, like a lot of women, and on occupied territories, in Lviv or in army. But I think for us, it's I don't know, it's obvious for you or not, so I want to just elaborate something that is important to understand, because first of all, first that was and are big challenges for women. It's loss of housing and forced relocation, because I don't know if you know, more than half, I can't remember, 60% of IDPs mostly are women. And when the full-scale invasion started, we had actually 3 shelters during this time. Now we have only 1. We had shelters and have 1 for women and children. And also we have had a shelter for queer people and activists, because they also from a discriminated group, and they faced a lot of challenges as well. And yeah, so it's something that I think obvious for everyone. And but I think that the most I'm sorry, the most discriminated groups of women were and are face different challenges, because for example, in our shelter, and in Lviv in general, we have a lot of women that were dependent on their husbands, on their children. If we talk about elderly women, it's also about women with disabilities, with mental illnesses. And when you lose loved ones, especially if when it's someone who you were dependent on, it's more harder to find shelter and some support. Especially also it's about single mothers with children. So yeah, and another thing, it's about employment and financial capability, because we have in Ukraine a lot of people, and especially women with low income, and when they were forced relocated, they don't have or lost the jobs, resources, and when a lot of businesses and people from Ukraine escape war in other countries, we of course have less opportunities especially for women, especially for those who have children and disabilities. And something that we face in Lviv, it's about social integration, because a lot of people and women were hoping that they can come back to the houses if they had some houses that are left, actually, and they don't. It was difficult for them mentally and in general to stay here, to live life, and yes. So it was mostly at first time it was mostly about some stabilization of mental state, I think, and some housing, especially when they lived in those shelters. They were like in schools, like gyms, big gym where people just lay down. And yeah, now it's changed, but a lot of IDPs here, especially women with children, don't have housing. So because they can't find job, they can't find rent an apartment, because in Lviv it's like huge prices. So we have less IDPs women now, but the problem stays, especially yeah, something like that. yeah, and when we talk about some basic needs, it's also about medical care, especially again those women who are more discriminated, who don't have a privilege. Like I call this privilege because I have a job, for example, yes, and I have an apartment. And also it's about queer people that can't find some friendly medical care because they're discriminated and denied in some services, in medical services. So yeah, if we talk about feminist workshop and our community and that we work with, we also face some problems because we have this tension in our society about like war even now, and a lot of people just think that we doing something wrong, that we I don't know, gay marriages, it's not the time for gay marriages, it's not the time for Istanbul Convention, it's not the time for like women's rights, etc. So yeah, we have this tension. Surprisingly, we don't have a lot of resistance in the field of our work with anti-rights activists. I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, but we also know that we should be like alert about them because we don't have like some pink glasses, and we know that in that after war or in the year or 2 or 3 we will have like hear from them, as I can say, because especially when it's about reproductive rights, about abortions, because yeah, and I can talk about it, and it's a long list, yes, but yeah, that's something that we like trying to prevent, if I can say so. If we talk about occupied territories or women in the army, it's more difficult for them because I have a lot of my friends that, I mean, women that join the army and they face a lot of discrimination, sexual violence, and it's even worse because when we try to talk about sexual violence in army, it's hard because militaries are like heroes, not rapists or something. Yeah. If we talk about women in our army forces, I can give you an example how it's hard for them because months ago women didn't have a women's uniform. Months ago they have now, but during all that time, all the uniforms that our women in army have, it's from volunteers, it's from Землячка. I think maybe you heard about this organization. They just saw a lot, ENSU a lot of Боже, я забыла слово форма. I'm sorry for my Ukrainian. So yeah, it's like something not so obvious, but it's really important for them. I'm not starting with some equipment because it's also don't fit for some women. So yeah, and I don't want to dive in Russians crimes, war crimes against women, because I think you may heard about rapes, about tortures, about any kind of different sexual violence, and as a lot of people say that violence against women, sexual violence, it's like a weapon at the war. So yeah, I think if you talk with some organizations that provide direct aid, direct help these women that are on occupied territories or escape from occupied territories, you can hear a lot of awful stories, and I actually don't want to dive in that even for now. So yeah, I think something. Sorry, I read something in the chat and I get distracted, but I don't answer for that. I think we will have time after main questions. Yeah, thank you.
You started to speak a little bit about the shelter, and can you tell us a little bit more how Feminist Workshop reacted on the full-scale invasion? Did your activities change, and how was it within the organization? How it was to hold on when the full-scale invasion started, and what are your activities now? How it's to be a feminist, and what our feminists are doing right now during this full-scale invasion?
I don't want to talk about all feminists because, you know, it's a lot of directions and a lot of things that Ukrainian feminists do, really a lot of. But I can say what we do, and we opened a new crisis direction when the full-scale war started, and this direction works today. So in the first months, we opened 2 shelters, one of femme activists and one for women and children. And I remember that there is no time to think about it, no time to fear, because all of us didn't have enough experience to do this, to launch shelters. We didn't know how it works, but yeah, it wasn't the time to think, to fear. We just did what we need and what another people need. I remember that at the same time we launched our work, we at the same time formed our team, and at the same time looked for money. Yeah, and now I'm smiling, but at that time, of course, it was terrible, it was awful, and we were scared. But what we have now and what we do now, we have one shelter. It is a third shelter, but we had to, as Irina mentioned, close 2 shelters because of lack of funding for money. And also we provide case management, like individual situation, and help individually for people who need help. And also we launch the digital literacy courses for IDP women, like 55 plus years old, because we understood that these women don't have access to humanitarian help, for example, because they don't understand how to use Google Maps or Google Form, how to find information. So now we see that this is very important thing to help people understand this digital world. And also, for example, we recently gave vouchers for professional courses, like education for women in Ukraine. So literally, we help women to be more stable financially too. And another thing that we not started, but we do in year ago, we systematize the work on the promotion of high quality sex education. We formed a separate team for this work, and we found professional specialists is a lawyer, psychologist, and gynecologist. Sorry, I don't know how to say this word in English because English is not my native. So yeah, we understand that topic of sexual education is directly related to GBV, and we understand that this problem becomes more critical in the war. We hope do this work systematically, and also we see that our society are ready to understand why a sexual education is really important, because just a few years ago we tried to do the same, and no answer from the society in Lviv, because Lviv is more conservative city, and we always had the fight with our how to say it, one moment. Alla, maybe you can help me. Органи місцевої влади.
Governments, local governments.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we had the fight with local governments because they think that all is good with our sexual education, but we don't think the same. And yeah, it's of course also because of pressure of religion in our city. But today we work with some religion centers, we don't work with government, but we on the way. And yeah, it's really interesting to see how war changed some directions of work, when at the same time we have really deep problems with rights, and but on another side, some conservative groups can work with feminists because we need to one result. Yeah. And also, of course, we continue our previous work. We systematize our work with creation space for development of feminist community, and also we conduct educational activities. We understand that a lot of problems have not gone away, but we have plus for previous problems. We have the war, the huge problem, and we continue everything we did before, and also respond additionally to consequences of the war.
I want to add something to what Ola said, because it's about this like balance between our work in context of war and with IDPs women, with some advocacy for the rights or rights of minorities, because but on other hand we have our government that push some neoliberal policies, and we don't stop to fight with our government. In fact, I don't imagine a day when Ukrainians stop to go on the protest, actually. Yeah, because it's context change, but the problems stayed. And it's important to say that when we talk about supporting Ukrainians and Ukraine, it's not the same like supporting Ukrainian government, because a lot of criticism from Western left is about, oh, it's so a lot about some unions that we join, organizations and countries that we're trying to reach to have help, and we don't have any choice. So we need this alliance with some countries that are not like that we are. I'm sorry. I get so emotional because I like, and then I can, yeah. So yeah, I want to like say and speak up about that, because I see that we have like this, because I heard this opinion a lot from Western left. So I wanted to address that. It's like, it's not something that we forgot about our government, about about their decisions and etc. It's not something like that. But we need to find this balance. We need to find I don't know, funding and resources actually to do that, because it's hard. Like, yeah.
And concerning this, do you have any connection or any collaborations with other organizations or maybe unions which are helping you to in your work, or maybe are helping you in this fight which you were describing now with Olga?
Yeah, about unions. Our organization is can you find platform for different activists who share feminist views? This is our mission, and also for feminists with of different directions. And despite being the local grassroots organization, we have partnership relations and friendship relations with another organization in all of our cities. For example, in November, we joined the new network. It's a nationwide network for women's organization working with GBV issues. And we support each other. We can organize training for each other or together. And also, for example, couple of weeks ago, some of this organization in this network write the grant application together. So yeah, we we do something. And also, for example, just a week ago, for organizations from Kharkiv, this is the eastern part of Ukraine, came to us to exchange experience, also about GBV, and we shared our strategies, our approaches with them, and then they will think what how they will change their strategy. Also, we regularly organize some events or content like awareness raising events with LGBTQ organizations and with eco activists, with some individual actors and artists, for example. So we understand how it's important to unite and support each other in different ways, like exchanging experience or together fight with government or try to find the money for some activities, etc. And what else can I say about this? That also we build the friendly relations with Western activists and Western organizations. And also I appreciate that you ask us to join for this meeting, for example. So yeah, we speak and work with activists who support Ukraine and who are open to hearing about our experience and our needs and understand that responsibility of the war on Russia, but not on Ukraine. And it's difficult to us explain every time why it's necessary to increase the voices of Ukrainian women and also yeah, I think that's all. And also I don't know if you know, we have the two project now in Feminist Workshop is Twitter and Ukrainian Feminist Kitchen. This is the project. This is our project. With them, we promote the voices of Ukrainian feminists on the Western platforms, and also we educate about the history of Ukrainian life or Ukrainian women's movement and combat imperial narratives about Ukraine and not only about Ukraine.
Thank you. And then the last question before we move to the questions from the audience. What is the demand of the feminist workshop and Ukrainian feminists in general now during the full-scale invasion from the international groups, from international community?
Sorry, can you repeat this? I missed your question.
No worries. I was asking, as a feminist workshop, and also as a feminist, Ukrainian feminist in general, what are your what are your demand, requests to the international community?
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, if we talk about the promotion of interest in general of Ukrainian feminists, we need informational support because we want to be heard, and we face rejection of our right of I'm sorry, I have a lot of messages. So we facing the rejection of our right to self-defense and self-determination, and we want to be not object of the discussion, but subjects. We want to be real people who can say what we need and what we have to do because we know how to fight. We just want to your support, informational support. And as Katerina said, we can just repeat it. Please share Ukrainian voices and advocate for military aid for Ukraine and our right for self-defense, and it will be the support for Ukrainian women and Ukrainian families. Some practical examples about informational support for feminist workshop and another fem organization. It can be, for example, invite us for networking events, some experience exchanges, share information with us, and I mean not just feminist workshop, but another organization too, or about us. Yeah, we will we would love to join some events, but please not with Russian activists together. And also you can subscribe to our newsletter and add news about our organization for your in your newsletters for partners. and share with us some context of international organizations and that can interested in cooperation or in funding for us. And if you talk about especially feminist workshop support, it can be financial support also, because we are constantly in crisis. Every year we expect to close because of lack of resources. And currently we have a budget to pay the team until May, so it's just 2 months. And no, 3 months, yeah. And we constantly looking for money to survive. I can explain these things more because it's important to emphasize that donors usually want to give money for project activities, but not for payment for team. And this is our main need to flexible funding, because with this flexible funding, we can respond the crisis in Ukraine and also pay for the team. And it means that we will have this strong responsibility of the result in our team and constant professional development. And we will have a chance to create some new ideas, new approaches, and also we will have opportunity to respond the current challenges. I mean, in side of organization and also outside in Ukraine, because when we have the project money, we have to stay with the plan that we proved a year ago. But I think you understand that in Ukraine situation it changes every day, and we have to be prepared to answer that. So yeah, flexibility, budget, and permanent team allow us to be truly useful for society. And this is the topic. Yeah, so this is also topic to advocating the needs of Ukrainian families, because all organizations that I know say the same about funding, about the problem how to pay for team, and yeah, this is our main problem in all organizations that I know. That's all I think.
I want to also add something. I try, actually. I'm sorry. Today I can't put two words together. I don't know why. About the thing that Olga said, that we want to be heard. Why we're trying to talk about that? It's because a lot of people, for example, Western feminists who wrote those manifesto about peace and no weapons to Ukraine, yeah, it begins from their privilege, do not have war in their country, do not know what is colonial liberation, do not know in the context, the historical context of Eastern Europe, and we want to have a right as oppressed people to speak for ourselves, because it's about privilege. Do not have a neighbor imperialistic country that begin a long time ago imperial armed attack. So yeah, I want to point to that. And another thing that I wanted to address, it's that a lot of people, when we talk about war in Ukraine, they are really admire Russian anti-war resistance, and I don't want to say that against them, nothing against them, but I want to point that often the same people are silent about Ukrainian resistance, especially when we talk about Western left. And it happens, Oksana Duchak from Spilne, maybe you heard about her. She made a great point, and I'm trying to tell this to everyone. Russian resistance is convenient for Western left because they don't have weapons. They stand up against their government. And Ukrainians, on the other hand, they often portrayed like some, I don't know, nationalists or some militarist country, or even just like a victim. And so, everything about Russian anti-war resistance is about everything that Western left love. In Ukraine, we need to trying to find help from someone who we don't have any relations, if it will be before war. Yes, in Ukraine we just have a need to survive and trying to find ways and support in our government in this like position, in position to fight. So yeah, I want to point that also too, because we just often it's when we talk about Ukrainian resistance and Russian anti-resistance, it's like I don't see like a balance about that. So yeah, I don't want to say anything like bad about Russian anti-resistance again, but it's about more like Western observers, not about them. So yeah.
Thank you, Yarina and Oля. Now we will have questions. So if you have questions, please write it in the chat or just unmute you and ask them directly. And there is already a question from Hedy to Olga. I guess you mentioned the network which recently Feminist Workshop joined. Could you please repeat the name of this network?
I needn't say. This is a coffee project. I don't know how to say it in English correctly, to be honest. So yeah, this is a new network, and we have just the name of the project, but not the name of network. We are working on this.
Thank you.
It's about Ukrainian feminist kitchen, you mean?
No, it was about the national-wide network that we joined.
Thank you. If I don't see for now questions in the chat, if there are any questions, please unmute you and ask. If there, for now, I will then ask my question. Hedy, okay. Go.
Two questions. First, what is the name of the project then? You said it's a network, we don't have a name, but what is the project? I don't, it's to unite all the organization. That's it, I think. And second question, you said you had two projects now. It was a feminist kitchen, and I didn't get the second one, I'm sorry.
We have just like Twitter account, like specific for foreigners in general, not like for Ukrainian users. So I can find how it's called if you have, because I don't remember, because I read it from time to time when I need to answer on some difficult questions about Ukrainian war in Ukraine. But in general, it's for like people who try to understand more about Ukrainian resistance and heard feminist voices in like more like short and easy to understand format. Yes, don't listen like 2 hours interviews or events or Zoom calls, just read about that. Yeah, Feminist UA. Thank you, Alla.
And I now I'm writing the name of this project that I said.
Thank you.
So this is a call to action, sorry. One moment. Oh, yes.
Cold coffee. Okay.
Thank you. And Ricky, you have a hand.
Yes, I would like to ask if you have any contacts with feminists in occupied territories and what is the situation there?
You mean you want to know more about the situation there, or you want to share or have some connection with them? Because if you want to have some connection, we will ask our friends, activists, to share some contacts with you. But if you want to have more information right now, it's another thing. So what do you want?
I just want to clarify, we don't have like connections with them because basically it's all about safety. We don't work in occupied territories, but I know that there are feminist activists or like different kind of activists that have a connection in Ukraine, but it's more like east of Ukraine, not here, because I don't know such a thing. So we, if we like, we don't work there, so we try and do not like find them or anything, because we trying to like have some contacts with organizations that work directly there, like on eastern Ukraine, but we don't have a direct contact with people on occupied territories, just because of that thing. Even we're trying to find something. I know colleagues who doing some interviews with people on occupied territories anonymously and just with cautious, because it's a danger, you know. It's danger to say you are a feminist there, and it's dangerous to say something out loud or even in messengers. So it's some safety precautions about that.
Thank you. And I have a question. You spoke that you started after the full-scale invasion, a lot of not non-feminist, but you started to target also other audience, which is not usually identify as a feminist or just a humanitarian help, like elderly women. So did it change somehow how people in your city or in Ukraine in general see feminists now, or it's remains the same? And what is the relation now with people and feminists in Ukraine?
So yeah, it's kind of shift a little bit, because when we trying to advocate, for example, rights of IDPs women, and have some negotiations with our local city council, for example, or any kind of local government, we have this like it's like our joker, you know. We can say we have shelter, we talk with these women, we know what they need. Of course, they not always listen us, because it's as usual a lot of them. I'm sorry, Heidi, your mic is on. So yeah, Heidi, can you turn off mic?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what I was saying, yeah, so but it's became more easier to talk about feminists, for example, with elderly women that go on in our digital courses, because of course they heard feminist workshop and they like, what? But when they get to know us, get to know our social workers that work with elderly women or educated women, or our trainers in digital courses, they became more like, I don't know, open to like even the word of feminism, you know. So yeah, I can say that it's shift in some way, in better way, but unfortunately, I want to how I can say, I want that society, our society, like don't judge us, or just because our humanitarian work, because we do a lot of work with different kind of communities, giving them voices, and but when we were doing only that part, a lot of people just said it's not the time for that. Why you don't go to the join the army, or why you don't do some humanitarian aid, etc. So yeah.
Sorry, Patrick, can I add? Yeah. Okay, yeah. And also, people don't understand and afraid of our name because we are feminist workshop, and they don't like the word feminism. And also it was a funny, not funny story when one of our studier in these courses for ADP women said that she heard about us, and she afraid that we are selling the human organs. But yeah, really. So this what people think when they see feminist workshop. This is our reputation, yeah. Of course not, but I don't know what on in the mind of these people. And also, she was brave, and she came to us and saw that we are normal people. We just want to help. And she was super excited about it.
That we are not criminals.
Yeah, wow.
Patrick?
Yes, thank you. I have two questions. First question is in your daily activity, which kind of relationships we have with other feminist organization in Ukraine? Which kind of relation you have with other feminist organization? And the second question is, Oksana from Bilak Nina in an interview said about discrimination against nurses. We as unions, we work with a feminist workshop. But in this interview, she don't give more details about this works with the feminist workshop. And therefore, I ask you, which kind of work you have with Bilak Nina? Thank you.
Okay, I heard a second question, but I didn't catch the first one, so I start with the second one about Be Like Nina. Yes, I actually didn't work here at that time, but we also always have like friendly relationship, and we support each other because we have like we have our боже, спільні цінності. Вибачте мене, будь ласка, мене голова.
Common values.
Common values, yes, sorry. And we worked on some project together, and also especially when we talk about unions, but again, I didn't work at the time when we have some project, common project about related to Be Like Nina. But yeah, for now, for example, we work with social movement on another project. It's about more like how can I say, it's something that we trying to do about left views, because we're trying to educate our community, because not everyone have this like values, and we're trying to talk more about also oppressed people like Palestine, for example, and we plan for conduct event about Palestine, because as you know, our government, our president talked highly about Israel, so we need to address that through people who want to listen. So yeah, we have some projects this project happening now actually, but like Nina, I'm sorry, I can't tell. Maybe Ola know something.
Oh, it was years ago. I'm in the organization just 2 years. I don't know.
Can you
And
repeat
there
the
was the
first?
first question.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, maybe Alla, you can repeat the question.
Yeah, the first question was our was a collaboration. I also started to forget English. Collaboration with other organizations, feminist organization in Ukraine, right?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we are local organizations. So we are working in Lviv and Lviv region. And for example, we have a friendly organization in Lviv, Women's Perspective in English. And they have a big story. They are bigger than our organization, and they support us, but also we can support them. For example, in practice, in daily activities, it can be, for example, that one of their Maria from this organization just called me yesterday, and asked about some contacts, like, Ola, can you help me with some contacts? And I said, oh yeah, okay, of course I can, why not? So it's not about some documents or some official project, but we just support each other and do something that we can. And also, for example, we can go to their office and just ask, or do you know how to write this application, or how to manage this financial things, and they help us. So yeah, I don't. Yarina, maybe you want to add something.
Basically, Women's Perspective helps us to go through this bureaucracy stuff when we talk about fundings, etc. And because they have they are old organization, like they have like more than 20 years experience in their job, and they work mostly with GBV survivors and trying to help a smaller feminist organization in this institutional stuff. And if we're talking about collaboration, of course, we have some heads, and maybe we'll have some collaborations with Insight. Insight it's LGBTQI plus organization. They based in Kyiv, but they have department in Lviv, inside Lviv. So and they have space here, so we trying to work with them too. And if you talk about feminist organization, it's also about Bilkis. I don't know. Bilkis. They should be here actually. Sorry, I forgot. So yeah, when we in Lviv, we work with some local organization on if you talk about on Ukrainian level, we work with some our like friendly organizations like Sfera, Kharkiv Pride, Sfera and Kharkiv Pride, because it's basically the same. So yeah, something like that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I'll unmute.
Thank you. I see question in the chat. So, Catherine, is it okay if I read this question and then we move to you? Yes, okay. In Spain and other Western countries, some political figures are using feminism to advocate for peace, while they silence feminists from Ukraine and other countries in war or directly threatened. Are you in contact with feminists from other countries like Syria, Poland, Moldova, Georgia, and so much, long, etc., who are also silenced to build in common an answer to this?
Yarina, I think you can answer because you
Oh, we definitely have such organization in Poland, because we had even some project with them. It's New Vision, and another one, I forgot the name, but if we talk about Moldova, Syria, Georgia, I can say actually, because how to put it, for now we trying more on trying to do for ourselves something, like not for ourselves, by ourselves, but I see the point, because it's really like easier to unite with someone with a similar experience, but for now we don't have resources, maybe, if I can say, to, I mean, even human resources, because it's a huge part of a job to have something, to organize something, event or project, or so yeah, it really makes sense, but for now it's not so, like, it's not a long list, if I can say so.
Yeah, but also we have this Ukrainian feminist kitchen project when we talk about with another activist, and also I don't remember actually what it was, but I remember there some events in Georgia when our activists they joined, and also we just finished the project for different countries. I don't know, Taiga, like this. So yeah, we understand that this is important, but as Yarina said, that it's about the resources, and now we are looking for these resources, and we are trying to structurize our work with international community to not mix, but do something together. Okay.
And also, Olga mentioned Taiga. It was international project from left feminist from Germany, Poland, Lithuania, and Italy, and Ukraine. But also we have some activists who want to, like, join this project and do stuff about that, but we, like, don't have this systemic work, especially when it comes to some other countries like Syria, Palestine, or something. Yeah.
Catherine?
Yes, partially it was answered, but my question was, we are coming to the end of the meeting, was to ask you what would be, on your point of view, the priority, the priorities, even with a plural, for the concrete aid that we can try and bring to you. And so on several aspects, perhaps. So the first aspect, which is obvious about what you have said, and which was already the beginning of the presentation, that is the need to help the people in the world and feminists in the world listen to your voices. So on that point of view, I think we could relaunch the distribution of the first appeal, that is the right to resist, and any updating of that appeal from you 2 years after that is one aspect which is very important against a part of the left, of course, but also part of the feminist and all abstract pacifists. So don't you think we could relaunch the distribution and supporting of that appeal? And secondly, about fundings or petitions, what would be priorities on your point of view? Would it be linked to specific needs, material needs? I don't know, or defense of shelters, or can you tell us what would be the main point on which we could organize fundraising to help you?
Okay, about the second part, maybe Irina can tell more about the first part, but I can share my things about the second part of your question. So about the support, I think I can say about priorities like 1, 2, 3, because we as Ukrainian feminists have to do all of things at the same time. So, that, for example, about funding, we have to fight for our voices and say something unpleasant, maybe, and unusual things on the international community and also for the donors. And at the same time, try to find money. And it's difficult to connect, but we have to do it because on the one part, we have to advocate the needs of Ukrainians, but at the same time, we have to survive. So if you want to do anything, you can choose your way. For example, you can just choose informational support and say that please but help Ukrainian army, and Irina will talk about this part. Or you can, for example, talk with another organizations and donors and say that I said before that we, not just Feminist Workshop, but we too, we need the money for our salaries and our team, because in Ukraine situation is like we know how to find something very cheap, I don't know, because we try to help each other. Different organization can, for example, find food for us and find some clothes for us if we need. But no one can help us with salary. So if we have the money for team, we have another things that we can care about everything. Yeah, and this is important thing that I think we have to advocate for potential donors, because now the situation is that our activists, not only in feminist workshop, and in feminist workshop is unusual situation for Ukrainian organization because we have full-time team, not all of team, but half our team is full-time. But usually this is volunteers or part-time workers, and they have, so this is activists that have 2 jobs and they volunteer. And you can understand that burnout is our daily activity.
Basically, you could choose any directions of our work because if we talk about shelter and digital courses and advocacy work, we need money for that. If you talk about sex education, about translation of a lot of stuff for sex ed and negotiation with a lot of like local governmental people that are deputies or something, that we need money for that. So it's just kind of, I can say also about the priorities, but it's something that if we will have funding for like administrative costs, if we will have this place where I'm at actually today, if we can like make funding for our team that work full-time and part-time, we will do that, we'll do it now. So yeah, and about manifesto, I think it's a great idea to launch it again, and trying to like поширити, Боже,
Share,
to
promote.
share, to engage more people, more feminists especially, because yeah, it's important, it's always important, and I think it's a great idea. We can talk about that.
Dora, you had a question in the chat. Do you want to ask it? Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote several things, but one question is whether you have a organization that is attached to some university or some governmental organization or something like this, so that it's easier to apply for a project together. And also I have a question because I was approached by some Polish people that said it's better to have projects like with Poland that can move money into Ukraine, but I feel that it's very unstable to collaborate in that way, because I want to make sure if the EU gives money for a project that is supposed to help Ukraine, I want to be sure that money ends up in Ukraine and not in the hands of someone in the middle. So for me, it would be very interesting to hear what you have to say about this. I work particularly in science in agriculture, and they say that the Polish owners of several tech companies within agriculture. So that would be a natural way to put money into Ukraine. But do you have any view on this?
So about university or government organization, we don't have such a like
just NGOs.
NGOs we can find, we can have, and we have some NGOs, but if you talk about universities or really government organizations, so no, we don't have any. And about what you're asking, so yeah, it's actually a big problem, because it's not only just about like donations, it's about funding from big donors that don't find like that small organization, grassroots organization don't get those money from UN, EU. Like you can say it, and yeah. But when we talk about something, if as I understand, there are some like some organizations in Poland that said that that this money goes to Ukraine. So just find any grassroots organization or any feminist organization and just approach them directly, because we find a way to have these donations if we can't have it like directly. But this is very important to approach those organizations, especially small ones, especially those who don't have these huge donors and don't have those resources to approach them directly, because it's really a problem. If I found an article about like this money flow, because I saw one and it's like very interesting to see how many organizations really received fundings if we talk about those huge donors. Yeah.
Can I just add? I added a link to American-British podcast that invited some women from Ukraine in the latest podcast. It's called Ukraine the Latest, and they discussed the problem with the military uniforms that are not adapted to women, and the shoes are too big. And now the women have been granted summer uniforms, but they have no winter uniforms. And also they have no sanitary pads, and there are several things that are lacking with the concept that there used to be only men in the military, but they need all the resources they can get. So this is another issue where the female perspective has not been addressed at all.
Thank you, Szymon.
Yeah, just short remark actually to Tora, because as a Polish person, I can say it's the weirdest thing I ever heard. If any Polish organization said, give us your money and we'll give it to Ukraine, it doesn't make any sense, really. So just give it to Ukrainian feminists, and that's all. Basically, because I understand if someone is raising money in Poland and wants donations from Polish people and then give it to Ukrainians, that's normal. But if they ask Western Europeans or Americans to give them money, it's just weird. I would love to know what the organization will have, because it's kind of a weird way of donating money, I would say. So just
I can share it in the chat.
Yeah, it's just it's just sounds weird to me, because I'm not saying they're gonna use that money or anything, but it's just the best way is just to find, there's plenty of Ukrainian organizations you can donate money to. So I would just do it the best way possible. Just give it to any Ukrainian organization if you think deserves it. That's it.
It was not donations. It was for collaboration in research.
Okay, but I still think it's better to reach Ukrainians instead.
Yeah. And I have a Ukrainian colleague who works in a... Yeah, I will ask him, because he has also been approached by some dodgy people. Sometimes there are some people that want to get the money themselves, and it's not so clear.
Thank you. So are there any questions which were not asked and you would like to ask them? You have now this moment, or write them in the chat. Katrin.
Yes, it has been raised in the chat. The question is, would it seem important to, would it be possible to have an appeal for resistance with feminists from several countries, Ukraine, Palestine, Kashmir, maybe Sudan, and so on? I don't know the spirit exactly of the question, but I could formulate a similar question, perhaps more precise, along the line of the Ukrainian manifesto, The Right to Resist, in a situation of conflict, in a situation of war, where in a situation where you need arms and non-armed resistance. So if there could be a feminist appeal from not only Ukraine, but different countries confronted to armed struggle and resistance on several issues, that would be perhaps something very, very important to relaunched the very same idea that we supported in the beginning, not to put at the same level aggressors and aggressed, arms to defend yourself and arms of the dominant imperial powers and so on. So something like that would be on the line of the initial manifesto, and would be, perhaps we can work together in the next period with contacts of that kind. So that's the first question. And the last question about all what you say on the impossibility to make priorities on financial issues and so on. I completely understand and agree with those remarks. Perhaps we could transform the proposal. So that is, we could have a fundraising which would be for feminist organization, Ukrainian feminist organizations, and answering the concern of many people, where do money goes? And whatever be the sum and the importance, I mean quite quantitative importance, the fact to be linked with organizations resisting on the ground is very important. So fundraising going to concrete organization, feminist organization, which could publish regularly a kind of journal and information on the different kinds of initiatives they have, different kind, but then the fundraising go to them, and they manage the funds as they want. So that would be something we can work out.
So I can answer on the first one, maybe, or I can answer on the second one, because I'm do the talking. So about this like manifesto with feminist manifesto, but with other pressed countries, feminists from other pressed countries, and yes, I think that it is a good idea and we can work on that, but because it's like easier for people to understand the struggle when it comes from different context and different countries and all together. But at the same time, I wonder if it will be difficult to find a common ground, because we have different contexts, and also the point is that it's just my doubts, because when we don't talk about like specific war and talking about a lot of them, about or some military conflicts, name it, maybe so. I don't know. It's my just doubts, but maybe the people just can't like see everyone, because when there are a lot of this, not a lot of, I don't know how I just think about that, but yeah, it's something that I just thought that when you don't focus on something specific, you lost like every point. I don't know, sorry. It's a kind of late, so I may say something stupid. I'm sorry. Ola?
Yeah. So sorry, I'm really tired and it's difficult to translate in my mind. So, but I will try. About the funding. If I understand correctly, but please correct me if not, you mean that we, for example, can share a list of organizations in Ukraine, feminist organizations, our, for example, friend organizations, with their most important needs, and you will fundraise, like ask people what you want to support, please do it, this is the list. Yeah, I understand correctly. Okay. Why not? I think we can do it. It will take some time, I think, because we have to connect with different organizations and ask them, because you see that you ask me and I actually really know in the numbers how much money we need for different directions, but even I don't can say about priorities right now. So I understand that another organizations also need to have some time to think about it, but I think it's possible to do it, but I can't promise to find all of organization. Of course not. We can understand that in Ukraine, in Ukraine, we have many women's organization who works with consequences of the war, but we can find just typically feminist organizations. Yeah, we can do it.
Thank you. Adam?
Adam, you're muted.
Sorry, just following from what Catherine said, actually we ENSU has something like that. I mean, we have it in place. We have a fund called Powering Ukrainian Feminists, which collects funds and then divides it between a group of specific feminist activities. So we have it. We just maybe we need to put a bit more energy into it and popularizing it, and maybe kind of update the range of initiatives that we support. But it is.
Oh, it is existent, and thanks to Daria Saborova, we actually got some contacts on the ground where we help specific groups which were maybe not feminist in their core political core, but did some women's work, you know, and like
groups of women who were doing something, even if whether they called it feminist or not, but also some specific feminist groups. I mean, including Feminist Collective, Bilkis, some others. But that was some months ago, and I think we haven't recently promoted it as much as we should. So, okay, that's something we can keep discussing with the Ukrainian friends.
Thank you. So, if there are no questions no. Maybe I would briefly answer on something what appeared in a chat recently about Ukrainians and minorities. It's not a topic of this meeting, of course, but it would be just important to address that Ukrainians do about minorities, and Ukraine, it's a political nation which is consists from majority of ethnicities. Actually, Ukraine is huge, so even if you could imagine as Ukrainian is different in Lviv, in Kharkiv, in the south of Ukraine, they have different traditions, different, similar, but still different in some way. And also there, of course, there are Jewish minorities. There is a Crimean Tatar, and there are Greeks, Germans, Russians, and all of them are now part of Ukrainian resistance. There are different organizations which are helping volunteering, but also there are a lot of minorities who are already in the army. There is even Jewish or Crimean Tatar battalions which are uniting around it. So I think Ukraine is a great example how the big country could unite people with different ethnicities and protect them, and that they are also part of the general idea of what is to be Ukrainian. And of course, we have problems because Ukraine is a very young country. It's only, I forgot, it's 30-something years old. I need to calculate. But for the democracy, it's a very young age. So we are going to fight for it now. Irina.
So yeah, if I understand your answer on that comments about minorities. So the thing is, then in occupied Crimea by Russia, I can't recall how many times USSR and then Russia deported Crimean Tatars. But if we talk about that, I know that that at least in when the Crimea was the part of Ukraine, we do not torture or put in prison Muslims, because Tatarian are Muslims, a lot of them. So yeah, that what happening in Crimea with Muslims, you can do maybe some research if you want to find more. But yeah, it's like not it's awful thing actually. And in Russia, actually, it's off top. I'm sorry, I just off topic a little bit, but in Russia we have some Ukrainian lawyers that have Russian passport just because with that they can protect those prisoners. Or so in Crimea, especially when we talk about this stuff. So yeah.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot, Olga and Yarina. It was almost 2 hours of conversation. Thank you so much. And I guess Katrin or Ricky, you could add about our campaign for Veteranka and say some general closing word.
Yes, about our financial campaigns. We have fundraising for these feminist groups, as Adam said, but we also have a campaign for Be Like Nina to support the trade union. And our most recent campaign is about women in the army through the organization Veteranka, which supports the women in the army, which have also an organization which is called Invisible Battalion. And you can find a very interesting documentary on these women in the army. And we asked them, because the point was raised before, what are their priorities? Because first we were thinking to do something about their outfit, but they said, no, what we now need most is to have a ambulance car to transport the wounded from the front in a safe way, so an armored car. And we are trying to collect money for this, which is an urgent need. I have put in the chat some links to our campaigns on this, Veteranka. So please help us to collect this money to save lives. Thank you.
Yeah, I repeated it in the chat for those who missed. Please join this campaign because it's important. This car would really save the life, as Ricky said. And I want to thank you again a lot, Yarina, Olga, and everybody who let us to organize this meeting today. I hope it was informative and valuable also for you. And if you have any ideas how to collaborate or help Ukrainians and Ukrainian feminists, please let us know.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting us and for your interest and solidarity with Ukraine. We appreciate and would love to see you again and join or do or cooperate with in some ways. So
Good.
bye.
See you all. Bye bye.
Bye.